Hello everyone, this is Karanda James here. I am a PhD student at Liberty University. And before we begin, I would like to thank Mr. Guy Weston and Mrs. Mary Weston for their contributions of the Timbuctoo area here of the historic Timbuctoo Cemetery. And I would just like to do my presentation on Timbuctoo, New Jersey's history. Here at the cemetery, historic cemetery of Timbuctoo, I will be talking about the actual African Americans, Union soldiers who are buried here, and just a little bit about the history of Timbuctoo. Here is a monument dedicated to the original site of the Zion Wesleyan Methodist Episcopal African Church and Cemetery for the Timbuctoo historic site. Here we have a monument paying tribute to honoring Timbuctoo soldiers who fought in the Civil War. Here we have a memorial of a Timbuctoo Civil War memorial headstone. And as you can see over here, we have a plaque paying tribute to our United States colored troops. Hello everyone, once again, my name is Karanda James. And before I begin, I would like to thank Ms. Louise Calloway for taking the time to provide the answers we seek for this presentation. Thank you to Ms. Calloway for your assistance with the Underground Railroad and also with the history that you're going to be explaining to us once we get inside. Thank you very much. Okay.
Okay, and
we are now at the entrance of the Underground Railroad Museum. And here we have a portrait of an African man being enslaved back in the beginning of the slavery era of 1619, when the first slaves arrived from Africa to the coast of Virginia. And here are other pictures showing of Africans who were enslaved at the time, showing how they were downgraded and how they was demeaned and dehumanized, and also showing pictures of how they used to live in the wood cabins as slaves, and also slave children who were very poorly clothed, and also a hanging of African men who were disobeying their master's will. And so I'm going to swing around more to show another portrait of Africans back in the mid-1600s, 1640s, showing the Jamestown plantation of how African women were on display to be sold, and how they took care of the masters and the master's children, and also having children with their masters, and also still being enslaved. So as we come over to this area, I will show you, or you can see actually for yourself, these are the artifacts or the leftover remnants of African slavery, of what the white masters used to subdue Africans and for them to submit to their will. When they did not do chores properly, or they just downright rejected to being a slave, these are the artifacts that were used for their submission. And towards my right here, you have a bale of cotton. Let me come over this way. This figurine is famously known for to put in front of the master's houses for the slaves to direct people when they are coming into the master's home. And also other portraits of the history of African Americans, 1700 to 1659 to 1700. and also the early flag of the United States before the Civil War has come into play. And also one of the famous portraits of Harriet Tubman, also known as the Black Moses, who has freed over nearly about 3 to 4 British slaves to bring them to the north to freedom. And here in 1856, we have a map showing the New Jersey Underground Railroad. That was started all the way from where you see where it says Greenwich, all the way up the New Jersey land coast, all the way up to the border of New York City. And once again here, there are more African memorabilia. And here are famous African Americans who resisted the institution of slavery, stemming from Nat Turner to Joseph Kincaid, and also from Denmark Vesey. And also there is a kind of writing where it has the Underground Railroad and also the 1739 Stonewall Rebellion. Hello everyone, this is Karonda James here in New Jersey, and this is the conclusion of my multimedia presentation and regarding the overall takeaway from the Timbuctoo Historical Cemetery as well as the Underground Railroad Museum in New Jersey here. So, but first I would like to apologize for Ms. Calloway for not being on my recording there. Due to the fact that she felt a little kind of weary about being recorded, and she really wanted the history of the Underground Railroad to come into my own words. So I do apologize for that, as well as having technical difficulties, as I had expressed in my discussion. While I was recording at the Timbuctoo Historical Cemetery, I noticed that when I purchased the battery for my Handycam, it was defective. So I'm so sorry about that. And why I look different from my recordings of earlier is due to because the excessive heat that we are experiencing here in New Jersey. So that's why I look different. And with all that, I would like to go into the overall takeaway from both the Timbuctoo Historical Cemetery and from the Underground Railroad. Now, beginning with the overall takeaway from the Timbuctoo Historical Cemetery, in my opinion, is how the essential history regarding African Americans' fight for freedom and liberty, as well as building a settlement to be a haven, and is a history that needs to be reintroduced within the field of American history. And also, I believe that the impact of Timbuctoo on future generations will be an impact to the younger generations to learn and understand more about the significance of African American history here in America. And with that, furthermore, the overall takeaway from the Underground Railroad Museum, in my opinion, is the history of African Americans not only as slaves, but those who paid the price of freedom with their blood. And as well, I believe that the impact of the Underground Railroad Museum on future generations will be a beacon for all who want to have a better understanding of the horrors of African slavery that was here in America, and paying tribute to the ancestors who suffered the cost of living and being branded as property here in this country. So with all that, I would just like to conclude my multimedia presentation regarding the Timbuctoo Historical Cemetery and the Underground Railroad. I thank you all so much, and here in New Jersey, I wish that a lot of you would come and just visit and just, you know, have a little trip and to see about the rich history that we have here in New Jersey for African American history. So with all that, I really appreciate all of you guys' feedback and criticism, and I am just grateful for this opportunity to do this presentation for you. So thank you so much, and all of you have a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you. Bye-bye.